Hello there. Thanks for joining me today. I hope that the first day of our spring CVBS has been good for you, and that you're learning lots of ways to collaborate and build the future together. My name is Stacy Williamson. I'm the head of sales here at Work Truck Solutions, and I'm going to be your host for the next 20 minutes. As we get started, I thought it would be good for me to tell you just a little bit about my background and explain why the topic of collaboration is so important to me and kind of how it became important to me in my career. So let me start by saying that I've spent a little over 25 years leading high-performing, record-breaking, award-winning business-to-business sales teams. And it's been an absolute pleasure. It's the thing that I love to do. And in that time, those teams have ranged in size from 4 people to 40, all across the country and in 2 industries, the alcoholic beverage industry and then automotive. Obviously, automotive, the most recent, and that's where I am today. I've been with Work Truck Solutions just almost 4 years and super excited to be here. But I started in 2005 in the retail space. And this is how my love for collaboration or need for collaboration began. So I left selling wine to restaurants and got right into helping auto dealers list used vehicles on the first website for classified listings. I said it was 2005. That's a long time ago. I mean, at that time, people were still saying that the internet was a fad. And so it was a whole lot of fun. There was a lot happening, but I had no idea what I'd gotten myself into. I didn't understand or know how a dealership worked. I had led sales teams and been in the sales environment, but not in an industry that is as complicated as automotive is. And so I learned real quick that I was going to need some help if I was going to be successful and successful quickly, because I didn't have time to waste. I needed to be making a good living immediately. So, and by the way, I'm leading a team at the same time. So it was important that I built some knowledge around the industry and could build credibility, or at least have credibility when I talk to dealers. So it started really small. It started by finding a couple of people on my sales team or within the region that I worked that actually knew, that were kind of experts in segments of the business. I mean, like the one guy that I called every afternoon was a car guy. He knew more about used cars and how they were priced and how the auction worked and all of that stuff than anybody else I knew. And every afternoon on my drive home, I called him and said, "Hey, what does this phrase mean? Or what does this word mean?" And that was really how I began to learn the industry. But I needed to take that a step further, because while that helped me understand how a dealership operated, I needed to know what the dealer was feeling in order to know whether the product that I was selling was going to be helpful to them. And keep in mind, this was the time before real consultative selling. This is the time when salespeople were using a pitch book, and we were talking features and benefits, a lot less of matching needs and all. So the consultative approach kind of came about organically for me. And I knew that every week I had to have a conversation with a general manager. I just had to ask, I had to be curious, I had to ask questions. And that's really kind of how the collaboration thing started. Once I started talking to dealers, I learned what their pain points were, who their best vendors were, the things that they liked about them. And that gave me an opportunity to learn about those other companies. So fast forward, this is when I decided, actually, I didn't decide. One of my best friends, it was her idea. Leverage your experts. Leverage your resources, Stacy. Talk to the people that are the experts in the space. And it was really great advice. This friend of mine worked with me at this company as well, and she had the nickname of VP of collaboration anyway. She was the one that really fostered that for us as a big company. So I think that, it's important for us to kind of see where, I'm sorry, I missed my slide there. I wanted to, so that kind of sets the stage of why collaboration for me. And then I'll talk a little bit now about why it's important for you and us in this industry and this time in our industry, the commercial space. And then we'll talk about some ideas and ways that you can utilize some of the things we talk about. All right. But let's just get this out of the way. We know that change is going to happen. The auto industry changes more. There's more changes and things happening than in, many other industries. And auto dealers are resilient. You guys know how to adapt and move forward. The biggest thing and most important, I think, though, is this idea of it being the change being an opportunity. It's, it's a growth opportunity. And when you have that mindset, then you're able to adapt quickly and work through it. Sorry. So the commercial landscape within the industry, here's some of those changes, some of the things that are really the reasons why collaboration is so very important. And the first one is probably, something that you all think about, right? The competition, there's more and more of it. But I think in the commercial landscape, you have to understand that there are more and more dealers that see this as an opportunity. And what that means is that more of them will they'll join OEM programs. They'll participate in this space. And so there's increased competition for all of us. And the only way we're successful with more competition is if we can specialize in some way. We can set ourselves apart. Customers are more sophisticated. Their needs are more specialized today. There's new technology that integrates through the entire ecosystem of the commercial sale, if you will. There's opportunities with the shift in fleet management. OEMs have dedicated themselves to making sure that dealers have the tools they need to really compete in the fleet management space. And that's something I think people are beginning to realize. And it's a really smart place to spend some time collaborating. And then finally, the dealership itself was designed to kind of live in silos. There's departments that don't talk to one another all that much. And the reality of that is if there's silos, there's lost opportunities. That doesn't mean you can't sell trucks or you won't be successful, that you can't, make a good living by staying in your own department. But if you want to accelerate that, then breaking down the silos and making sure that you're interacting with other departments and people within your stratosphere, your daily, marketplace or workplace is really important. So, Henry Ford thinks that working together, or thought that working together was really important. I like this. I like this quote, and I like to pepper them in the presentation a little bit. Let's now talk about, those practical strategies. Here's some ways that you can today take action on really cultivating or fostering a more collaborative culture in your business, whether you're a partner, a vendor, a dealership, an upfitter, any of the people in the ecosystem. These strategies work. Just change the names a little bit. I think the first and most important thing is that commercial is underrepresented. It's overlooked in so many times in a dealership. And that includes even, the weekly sales meetings, where retail folks are getting together, and there may even be, finance or F&I or service, might be in those meetings, but a lot of times commercial's not included. That could be by choice, right? The commercial team might not think it's worth their time, and then vice versa. But I believe that you should consider spending your time in department meetings throughout the dealership, because it will provide additional education and understanding about what other teams are going through and how working together within the dealership can be more successful for you. A good example of this is the marketing department. We have, at Work Truck Solutions, we sell a product that interacts or integrates with a retail website, which means that someone from IT or marketing has to be involved when we're putting the websites together. And we have kind of two groups of dealers: those where decisions are made in the commercial department and or at the general manager level, and then those where decisions are made at the marketing department. And there's not a lot of areas where both of those two departments are working together to make a joint decision. And I think that that's a missed opportunity. Marketing and advertising companies or departments think of commercial as, white pickup trucks. And oftentimes that's how commercial's represented in the dealership promotions and advertising. And if you want your fair share of the budget at the dealership, interacting with the marketing team and helping them understand commercial, I think, is really a great opportunity and a way to do that. The next category here, the next two categories are similar, but a little different. Pardon me one second. The first one talks about resources and experts within the dealership. So I think it's important for the commercial team to identify the people, the experts in the dealership that could really help in meetings with business customers, ride-alongs. I heard from a general manager not too long ago about how he dedicates several days a month to get out and ride with his commercial sales team, so that he can make sure that the businesses they're prospecting understand how important commercial is to their dealership and how important the customer is, which is really great in closing, these deals and building relationships. But it also helps identify other opportunities. Like, how might it impact your business if you include the mobile service manager in ride-alongs? The businesses, the customers that you're working with are just like us, and they need to be as efficient as they could possibly be. They're looking for ways to optimize their operations just like we are. And when you can bring along a group of experts to help the business see that working with your group will save them time and help them be more successful and efficient, it's a win-win for everybody. And then this final category, I'll spend a little bit more time on it. I talked a little bit a few minutes ago about how there's a real opportunity among to compete with fleet management companies. You've got the resources, dealers have the resources today to really be everything a business buyer, a small, medium-sized fleet operation could possibly need. You've got the tools, but included in those tools become the specialists that are in those categories. There's specialists that just work with charging for EV customers or people looking into it. You've got the software and telematics folks, the commercial lines of credit through the finance department, the captive, finance companies. And I bet any of you dealers that are listening today probably have been asked or even offered from one of these folks to come into one of your meetings or to go out and do a ride along. Don't be afraid to have those people interact with you in a meeting with a business. you can set the stage. That is, you're running the business and they're going to have a few minutes to talk about their specialty. But together, it really helps the buyer and customer understand your dedication to that operation. And then finally, you've got upfitters and distributors and companies that want to build their brands that you need and use in your everyday operation. And I know that many of them are willing to do ride-alongs or sit in meetings or conference calls, Zoom meetings, whatever. So that's it. Those are the ideas that I had to share today. I also heard an example from a dealer who puts together a monthly luncheon where he has service advisors and parts salespeople and commercial sales guys together. And that really helps him foster the value of shared customers among the departments in the dealership. That's a win-win too, for the dealership and also for the business customer. I hope that you're able to pull one or two of these things from the presentation today that might be helpful to you. Look, there's my contact information. I would absolutely love to collaborate with you in any opportunity you might have. WorkTruck Solutions is really dedicated to partnering and learning from our customers and our partners, and collaboration is really at the core of that. Catherine is a master at it, and really fosters that within our company, which is a wonderful thing. And we really, really appreciate it.